these are proper cool little things. 1983 Honda CR60, which was an air-cooled motocross bike. So it was a manual gearbox, clutch and everything like that. So it's like a full-on thing. It's got monoshock and blah blah blah. So, and they were very competitive little bikes back in the day. Probably still would be, really, in all honesty. But they're a bit smaller than a modern 60. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but bikes have just got taller and taller and taller, haven't they? They seem to just be bigger and bigger. Anyway, when I bought this bike, I knew that it needed a top end, is what I was told. Needing a top end turned out to be, and I knew that the pistons weren't readily available, and I'd not done a top end on one of these before. Anyway, needing a top end turned out to be needing a crank rebuilt, no piston with the bike, so I've had to kind of piece it together. The previous 2 videos on my YouTube to this go through the crank, why probably the crank failed. There was no side-to-side clearance on the big end, so that's probably why that failed. So I've rebuilt the crank, and then the top end, you use a KX60 piston. It's not quite the same, so it's a taller piston. It's 1 mil taller, 1 mil-ish taller. So you need to put thicker base gasket. I've actually had to use 2. I didn't have a 1 mil base gasket paper, so I've cut 2 out, put them on there, and then you have to modify the back of the piston. So the inlet side of the piston you have to modify, because when the piston's at top dead centre, covers up part of the inlet manifold. So I've done that, just finished it this morning actually, and the bike's running like a good one. I'm not going to ride it. I would normally ride it. There's 2 reasons why I'm not going to ride it. One, I've literally, a week and a half ago, I've had major knee surgery, so I'm just not going to do it. And then the other reason is, even if I hadn't, it's been absolutely chucking it down and the garden's soaking wet, so I'm not going to do it for that reason as well. Maybe, well, yeah, I was going to say maybe one of my kids will ride it. I'm sure they'd love to. In fact, I know they would love to, but I'm not going to film them riding it. I know that the gears work fine. I've tested them on the bench. We can stick it on the engine, the frame stand, which we'll do, and go through the gears. And I'll probably do a little demo of it running and going through the gears on the bench as well. It's a lovely little bike. It's not 100% perfect. I'm not restoring it myself. So someone's painted the frame blue. It should have been red, the orangey Honda red that they came in. So that's one thing. And then there's just a few bits and pieces, like it needs fork seals. If it hangs around a bit, I'll do the fork seals. And then it just needs a clean up, general tidy up really. Loads of the bits on it are original. It's got the original side panel. I'm sure that these side panels are original. The mudguards aren't original. I think the number board is. Someone scraped the tank. It could probably do with sending off to someone like Adrian Turnbull for polishing, or you can polish it yourself. Seat's been recovered. It's got the original pipe, it's got the original silencer. Generally it's really nice and generally really original. It's just got a few bits and pieces which probably could just do with a bit of sorting out. But the engine, like I say, the engine's been rebuilt. It's had all new seals throughout. It's had new crank bearings, it's had new crank seals. I've rebuilt the crank. The gearbox bearings are fine. I haven't changed them. They were absolutely bang on. No need to change them at all. And then it's had, obviously the top end has been done. So the engine will be absolutely sweet as a nut. And it should last for a long time. Usual two-stroke thing, you might need to jet it. We don't know what the jetting has been changed to. I haven't checked that out. I've just done the rebuild, got it running. It runs great, but you don't know until you start running them, do you? Depends what you're going to do with it. A lot of people are just going to buy these things and keep them, and if that's the case, then it's not going to need rejetting at all because it runs bang on. But if you're going to ride it, or your kids are going to ride it, or whatever, you might just need to have a look at that jetting at some point. I'm not saying that it is out. I'm just saying it's a two-stroke thing. It may need a closer looking at. Anyway, let's have a quick, more detailed look around her, so you can see overall condition and this, that, and the other. Like I say, with all these bikes, I haven't washed it. It is as it came across. It's pretty clean, really. They're pretty sought after model, and like I say, now the engine's been rebuilt, it runs sweet. So that's your main thing. The rest of it's just like kind of little bits and pieces that you might want to change, really. So let's have a look around her. So, like I say, the frame being the wrong colour is like the main thing that I would say should be sorted out. I mean, it does look quite nice, it's just not right. That's the only thing. It's had a new inlet manifold. The other inlet manifold had cracked, and actually the aluminium had cracked. I don't know whether someone was trying to modify an inlet manifold off something else to put onto it or whatever, but anyway, there you go. I've put a piece of silicone hose to link the exhaust and the silencer because they didn't quite match up, they didn't quite meet. So I've put a piece of silicone hose and 2 Jubilee clips on, which has sorted that problem out. Not factory, obviously, but there you go. So, I mean, things like the rear brake is all working fine, and the front brake's working fine. Might need a little bit of tightening up. Like I said, the fork seals need doing. The exhaust has got a couple of little dents in it. Struggling a little bit with that knee there. A couple of little dents in the exhaust, but nothing major at all. Thing generally good condition, that. The rim, if we wipe a bit of that mud off, a bit of that dirt off, the chrome is starting to go through. I would be cleaning that up with some chrome cleaner, aluminium foil, something like that would do that. Little bits here, so like the little rubber for the throttle cable has split, so whatever you want to do with that. They've snapped the little bobbles off the ends of the levers and then ground them down. It's not something I particularly like seeing that, because just imagine them going through your arm or your leg, which is why the little bobble is there. You can just see little bits where it's just starting to go through, but it will clean up that, and then if you keep on top of it with like WD-40 or whatever, it'll probably not carry on going, not that you would notice. So that is just about maintenance, really. Engine's in good nick, like stator cover, chain guard, the clutch cover and everything like that. There's not a lot of wear on these things, and that's often the case with these small bikes. They've either been used to death or they really haven't, and you can tell it really hasn't. Do you know what I mean? It's It's hardly got any wear on it at all. There's damping in the rear shock. That seems to be good, so that's a good sign that you probably won't need that rebuilding. I mean, they do need the seals to be done periodically. Rear tyres splitting, so if you're going to try using it, then that would definitely need changing. The overall condition of the frame, other than the fact it's blue, is good. A couple of little dents down there, which hopefully you can see. But it's a proper nice bike. It is. It is. Like I say, the front and the rear mudguards aren't original. There's a split in this one. I think that's a DC plastic one. Feels like one of their plastics to me. The seat cover's not original. But other than that, the thing's beautiful. It is. And just keep on top of them rims, cleaning up the chrome and etc, etc, and just go through it and maintain it, really. Gorgeous, gorgeous thing. Proper nice. Someone will be well chuffed with that. I know they will. Right, we'll do the gearbox check and then I'll get it fired up for you. In fact, we'll not do the static gearbox check that I normally do. We'll do the running gearbox check. So. So obviously went through all the gears, took it all the way up to 6th gear, revved it out in 6th, all good, all back down the gearbox back into neutral. I mean, I knew it was right anyway, but it's nice for you to be able to see that. And then obviously left it ticking over for a bit, switched the camera around so you could see it running in, revving up in neutral. It sounds great, it really does. Engine is bang on, absolutely bang on. You'll be very happy with that, I'm sure. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search Phoenix Motos.